Northrop Frye introduced his own level of style. Levels of style. These are the demotic style and hieratic style. Demotic style and hieratic style. Demotic style is modeled on the language of ordinary speech. Demotic style is modeled on the language of ordinary speech, while hieratic style is based on formal speech. Demotic style is informal in nature. Demotic style is informal in nature. While hieratic style is formal, standardized language. Demotic style denotes the language spoken by ordinary people in everyday situation, language used in everyday situation, which is informal language. Whereas hieratic style is formal language, not formal language. In discussing style in the literary work, two types of sentences can be delineated. In discussing style in the literary work, two types of sentences can be delineated. Two sentence types can be delineated in style analysis. These are the periodic sentence and the non-periodic sentence. The periodic sentence has intrusive structure, which suspend the ending of the sentence until later. Periodic sentence has intrusive structures, which suspend the ending of the sentence until later. Periodic sentence has intrusive structures, which suspend the ending of the sentence until later. You don't call them intrusive structures, you can also call them intervening expression or intervening phrases, intervening structures. That means the sentence does not run smoothly from the beginning to the end. But once the sentence begins, we have intervening words and expressions that arrest the ending of the sentence and hold it, delays the ending of the sentence until afterwards. So we call them intrusive expressions, intrusive structures. That is the major characteristic of periodic sentence. Just take note of that. So you should pay attention because some passages, some excerpts, or even some texts could be predominated with or by periodic sentences, and you must understand why the author has chosen to use that sentence style in the work. So when you say that there is periodic sentence or the predominant use of the periodic sentence in this passage or in this novel, you must say why it is so. Because the author does not use the periodic sentence for fancy. It is to help in sending across the right messages, or making the messages to have the right effect on the audience. Or if you say that the author is using non-periodic sentences, then you have to justify why that is so, what it has contributed to the success of the text. So as I said, the periodic sentence has intrusive structures which suspend the ending of the sentence until later. On the other hand, non-periodic sentences are those sentences whose constituent parts are loosely joined together and they tend to flow from the beginning to the end without interruption, without intervening expressions, without intrusive expressions. On the other hand, you have the non-periodic sentences whose parts are loosely joined together and they tend to flow from the beginning to the end without interruption, because they do not have intrusive expression. The effect of the periodic sentence is high formality, while the effect of the loose sentence or non-periodic sentence is conversational and informality. So that means that if the author, if there is a preponderance of periodic sentences in a text, the author is striving to achieve formality of tone. The author is trying to achieve what? Formality of tone. On the other hand, if there is a preponderance of non-periodic sentence in a work of art, then the author is trying to achieve what? Informal tone. Trying to achieve informal tone. The author is trying to achieve informal tone. So you know the difference. So you not only say the author is using periodic sentence, why? Okay, periodic sentence aims to achieve formality of tone. Non-periodic sentence or loose sentence, because if you don't call it non-periodic sentence, you can also call it loose sentence, attempts to achieve what? Informality of tone. Or conversational tone. So you can say that the demotic style is likely to have loose sentences or non-periodic sentences. The demotic style is likely to be made up of or constituted by mostly loose sentences or non-periodic sentences, while the hieratic style is likely to have periodic sentences, because that is what it means. You use loose sentences to achieve demotic style, and you use periodic sentences to achieve hieratic style. Another level of style distinction is that of paratactic and hypotactic sentences. Another level of style analysis or distinction is that of paratactic and hypotactic style. Paratactic, hypotactic. Style. Paratactic expressions hardly have cohesion except through the use of the coordinating conjunction and, whereas hypotactic expressions specify causal and logical relationships, often marked by the use of subordinating conjunctions like when, because, and so on and so forth. Paratactic expressions hardly have cohesion. They have cohesion except through the use of the coordinating conjunction and. That means the only thing that connects the sentences, the loose sentences, will be the coordinating conjunction and. Whereas hypotactic expressions specify causal and logical relationships. Specify causal and logical relationship. Often marked by the use of subordinating conjunctions like when, because, since, although, and so on and so forth. The paratactic expression hardly has cohesion except through the use of the coordinating conjunction and. Whereas the hypotactic style specifies causal and logical relationship, often marked by the use of subordinating conjunction, like when, because, although, since, and so on and so forth. So you can safely say that paratactic sentences or expressions or style is denoted by the use of coordinating conjunction. Denoted by the use of coordinating conjunction. So, whereas hypotactic expressions specify causal and logical relationships, often marked by the use of subordinating conjunctions like when, because, and so on and so forth. Apart from this, we can discuss literary style by examining the presence of the following in the text. Apart from this, we can discuss literary style by examining the presence of the following narrative techniques in the text. One is foreshadowing. 2, flashback. 3, allusion. So we have 3 allusion, 4 diction and imagery, 5 humor, 6 irony, 7 paradox, motif, or you can call it leitmotif. Foreshadowing refers to a statement or an action or an occurrence that points to future events in a work of art. Foreshadowing is a narrative device used by the author to point to future events in the work. It could be a word of a character, it could be a statement, it could be an event, an initial part of the work that points to future events. So the event foreshadows, the word foreshadows what is coming in the future of the text, or becoming in the future of the text. You can also call it prefigurement. I also call it what? Prefigurement. A good example of foreshadowing is seen in Native Son by Richard Wright. Native Son by Richard Wright. What's the title of the text here on the line? And you also write it in capital initials. It's the title of the text. So at the beginning of the novel, Biggar is seen chasing a rat in the room and killing that rat in a cruel manner. For those of you who read Native Son. Now you must understand that that action foreshadows what will happen to Biggar himself in the future of the novel after he has killed Mary Dalton and he is on the run, pursued by the White Society police and is in his eventual end. So when you are reading a novel for study, pay attention to, as you begin reading, pay attention to things like, do we have foreshadowing? Is there a statement that the character made that portends future events in the text? Is that will be foreshadowing? That will constitute foreshadowing. Let's move on to flashback. Flashback is another narrative technique. Flashback is another narrative technique. But this time, it's a device that helps the writer to recall past events in order to clarify current circumstances, current situations. It's a device that helps the writer to recall past events in order to do what? To shed light on contemporary events. Flashback is a device deployed by the author to recall, bring back, mostly through memory, past events in order to shed light on what is going on in the novel at the moment. That's flashback. If you've been watching Nigerian movies, you'll be well acquainted with flashback. The next one is allusion. Allusion refers to a brief reference that is made in a literary work. Allusion is a brief reference that's made in a literary work. Allusion is a brief reference made in a literary work. We have some types of allusion. Allusion is in types. Allusion is in types. So you cannot just say that there is an allusion in a work of art. You must say what it is. You don't have to say that there is an allusion in a work of art. You must say what type of allusion it is. Right? So we have classical allusion. We have classical allusion. By Nigeria we say classical allusion. We have classical allusion. Classical. And then you have biblical allusion. Biblical allusion. Biblical allusion. And then we have literary allusion. We have literary allusion. And of course, we have historical allusion. We have historical allusion. We have historical allusion. Let's start with classical allusion. Classical allusion refers to a brief reference that is made to the Greco-Roman world. A brief reference made to the Greco-Roman world. That is the world of the Greeks and the Romans. A brief reference made to the world of the Greeks and the Romans. A brief reference made to the world of the Greeks and the Romans. So any reference made in a contemporary work, or maybe a Renaissance work, that refers back to the classical period of the Greeks and the Romans, talking about Aristotle, talking about the gods, like Apollo, like Athena, like Achilles, Hector, is certainly what classical allusion. And so you'll be right then to say the author in this work has deployed allusion. And the type of allusion is what? Classical allusion. And you give an example. And then we will now say, what a brilliant student of literature. And of course you have the biblical allusion. Refers to a brief reference made to the Bible or Bible events in a literary work. Brief reference made to the Bible or Bible events in a literary work. So for instance, if someone in contemporary literature says that the King Solomon in a man did not allow him to settle down with one woman, that actually implies biblical allusion. Okay? Or someone comes to say, we have a Judas Iscariot in this group. Okay? That person that is behaving like a Judas in this group should stop behaving like a Judas. That's biblical allusion. Because it's making reference to an event in the Bible. And then you have literary allusion. In literary allusion, reference is made to another literary work. Literal allusion, reference is made to another literal. Literal allusion, reference is made to another literal. Literal allusion, reference is made to another literary. Then historical allusion. Historical allusion makes reference to important events in history. Historical allusion makes reference to important events in history. Makes reference to important events in history. I suppose we are done with allusion, so we move on to diction and imagery. So diction refers to the choice of words of the writer. Diction refers to word for word by a writer. No two writers use words the same way. Some writers choose difficult diction, some choose simple words. Some writing can be technical in diction. So the choice of words is primary to the understanding of the style of the work. So in discussing style, you might want to pay attention to the choice of words of the writer. And another thing that is important, and that's why we have dictionaries and imagery, is that diction informs imagery. Right? Diction, that's what? Informs imagery. Diction informs imagery. Imagery is informed by diction. So, imagery then refers to the pictures that are evoked in the mind's eye of the reader. The pictures evoked in the mind's eye of the reader. When the mind comes in contact with diction, remember, it is diction that elicits images. Diction elicits imagery. It's when your mind comes in contact with the word that it creates imagery, the pictures in your mind. And this is how writers impress. How writers impress the readers. This is how the writers influence the readers. This is how the writers affect the readers. Through choice of words that send imagery or images to the mind's eye of the reader. So, word choice is powerful in style study. So imagery refers to the mental pictures experienced by the reader while reading the text. have types of imagery. Imagery are in types. For instance, we have the visual imagery. We have the visual imagery. So, visual imagery appeals to the sense of sight. Makes you to see. Alright? Remember that writers use words to appeal to the five senses. So, visual imagery appeals to the sense of what? The sight, makes you to see. And some of the words that evoke visual imagery are black. Immediately the word blood is mentioned, what comes to your mind is the picture that you can see. So it's visual. Alright? Or you say red, blue. Okay? Mountain. A beautiful girl. A wide smile, a charming smile. Okay, they all bring about sight. Okay, a monster. Okay, monster. So it brings something to the mind's eye. It's a visual, right? Can someone else think of anything visual? The word that evokes visual imagery? Anyone else? Anyone? No one can think of a word that evokes visual imagery? Okay, so we move on to the next one. So you can have auditory imagery. Now, auditory imagery. Auditory imagery appeals to the sense of hearing. Make use of your ears. Okay? And there are particular words that appeal to your sense of hearing. When you read a text, you can hear. Right? Your senses. A word like hiss, H-I-S-S. H-I-S-S. Hiss. Okay? A word like splash. A word like tinkle. A word like jingle. Like the jingle bell. Jingle. A word like hash. H-U-S-H. Hash. A word like whisper. Alright? Those some people don't know how to whisper. Tell them whisper. They're like, they don't know what it means to whisper. They can't even whisper. It's not in their nature to whisper. So that whisper sounds like thunder. Okay? You have people whose whispers sound like thunder in this class. Okay? And that's how they usually give themselves out an example. Because they think they are whispering. I'm not whispering. So when the word whisper appeals to the sense of hearing, with like noise. Okay? Then we have tactile imagery. Tactile imagery. That's tactile imagery. Tactile. You can spell it. You can spell it any way you like, but the way we spell it is Tactile. Tactile imagery. Tactile imagery appeals to the sense of touch. Sense of touch. Touch. So we have specific words that when you use, they appeal to the sense of touch. 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 Like smooth. 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 Like soft. Hard. Rough. Coarse. Like coarse. C-O-A-R-S-E. Coarse. Velvety. Like velvety. Velvety. Velvet. Yeah, velvety. Good. Velvety. Like cool. 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 Right? Then we have gustatory imagery. Gustatory imagery. Gustatory imagery. So this is how you spell tactile imagery. We have gustatory imagery. Gustatory imagery. Gustatory imagery. This appeals to the sense of taste. Gustatory imagery appeals to the sense of taste. 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 So it could be bitter. It could be sweet. It could be sour. Bitter. It could be sweet. It could be sour. Bitter. Sweet. And then you have olfactory imagery. Olfactory imagery. Olfactory imagery. This appeals to the sense of smell. Appeals to the sense of smell. Like aroma. Like aroma. Like perfume. Like stench. So you need to be able to group the words that you encounter in the text into their respective imagery. Now let's just talk about organic imagery. Organic imagery appeals to feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions. Like love, hate, affection, anger, and so on and so forth. So you wipe. Did you wipe those lists? Humor happens when words, expressions, situation, events bring about laughter in a work of art. Humor takes place when laughter occurs in the work of art because of funny incidents, funny words, spoken by the character, or situations created by the writer, hilarious about humor. Humor is part of the human experience, which is usually infused into the literary work to make it look like real-world events. Humor is a major device in comedy. Humor is a major device in comedy. But it is not limited to comedy. You can have humor in other works of art, even tragedy. In Shakespearean tragedy, we have comic relief, which is an episode in tragedy that makes the audience to laugh and to forget about the tense nature element. Okay? So, even in tragic circumstances, people still laugh. Okay? We still find ways to laugh, even in tragic situations. In fact, there are times when something tragic happens to people, and you find yourself laughing. Okay? And people will say, that's not, but that's funny. Why are you laughing? Okay? So you must understand the context in which humor is deployed in the text. You must understand the context in which humor is deployed in the text. Sometimes the author can send across powerful messages through humor. It's not all the time that we have to be serious, okay, like the Puritans. Not all the time that we have to be serious like the Puritans. And moments of life do not always have to be straitjacketed. Sometimes people need to relax and laugh. Humor brings about that. So any device in the work of art that brings about laughter is humor. It's humor in the work of art. Then there's what we call dark humor. What we call dark humor. Dark humor. So dark humor occurs when, in spite of the dire circumstances in the text, the author makes us laugh. In spite of the dire circumstances in the text, the author makes us laugh. When we laugh at tragic circumstances, we are in the realm of dark humor. When tragic events happen, and in the midst of the tragic events, we create laughter, we call it what? Dark humor. In irony, meaning is communicated through opposites. In irony, meaning is communicated through opposites. Meaning is communicated by stating the opposite of what has happened. Okay? For instance, if one of those souls who came late, like 1 hour late in a 2-hour class, and I'll say, wow, you are so early to class today. Alright? So I am actually communicating in irony, because everyone knows that I'm not early at all. Okay? Good. So that is irony. When meaning is communicated through opposite, by stating the opposite of what has happened. And in literature we have irony types. We have verbal irony, which is usually stated, spoken. We have verbal irony, which is usually stated or spoken. We have situational irony. We have situational irony. Situational irony occurs when an action brings about an unintended result. Situational irony occurs when an action brings about an unintended result. For instance, when Tom sets trap for Jerry, when Tom sets a trap for Jerry, and then later Tom forgets that he has set the trap and goes and walks past that place, and the trap catches him. That is situational irony. That's not what he intended. He intended the trap for Jerry, but he has fallen into, that's not what he intended. So when an action brings about opposite the intention of the action, that's situational irony. Then we have dramatic irony. Ladies and gentlemen, we have dramatic irony. In dramatic irony, the characters act without being aware of the consequences of the action or the import of the action, but the audience knows. In dramatic irony, the characters act without knowing the full meaning, the full import, the full significance of the action, but the audience knows. That's dramatic irony. Let's look at structural irony. Structural irony. Structural irony. Structural irony occurs based on how the text is structured. Based on the structure of the text, the structure of the narrative. Structural irony occurs based on how the text is written, based on how the story is told. It is inherent in the structure of the text itself, by the nature of the text itself, creates the irony. A common feature of structural irony is the presence. A common feature of the structural irony is the presence of a naive narrator. Presence of who? A naive narrator who tells the story against himself or herself. Okay? A common feature of structural irony is the presence of what? A naive narrator who tells the story against himself or herself. That means the presence of the narrator does not have a comprehensive understanding of the events and tells the story to implicate himself or herself, or tells the story against himself or herself. That's a major device in structural irony. It is inherent in the way the story is told itself. For instance, you can say that we have structural irony in Chimamanda Adichie's Purple Hibiscus, because Purple Hibiscus has a naive character in the person of Campbell. The person of Campbell. Because Campbell is naive. She tells the story to glorify her father when the father is oppressive. She tells the story to only perceive the side of the father that he presents to the public, making us seem to see the father as a good person. But because we are adults, we are not naive, we know that the father is not a good person at the end of the day. So you have structural irony in that word. So that's what we bring our class to a close at the moment. See you again some other time.